Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to DJ-TLM TV. This is DJ-TLM and I'm here with the Pioneer DDJ-SB for Serato DJ. And I'm going to do this review using Serato DJ Intro, and that's a limited, or should I say light version of the Serato DJ software. And the reason I'm using that is because the DDJ-SB ships with Serato DJ Intro. So this is the way that you'll receive it. Now, straight away I have to add, before I tell you anything about this controller, that I would suggest that you buy the full version of Serato DJ, and you're going to know why in a minute. But there's a big difference between Intro and the full version, and to take full advantage of this controller, you will need the full version of Serato DJ. So let's get into it. First of all, this is their entry-level controller for Serato DJ. It's a smaller controller than some of the controllers that you see me use lately. And this is still a nice size. This is like a perfect size for home use. It's not that big. I have it on a desk right now, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's light, so you can just move it around easily. It's USB powered, so the only thing you need to do is plug in the USB cable, connect it to the computer, and you have power. And you start Serato DJ Intro and you're good to go. In order to have sound, you will have to plug in the RCA cable, and that's plugged into my audio interface, and that's it. Good to go. Now, it's a 2-channel controller. You do get a lot of functions, but it's still pretty basic and everything's pretty obvious. You have your 8 pads right here, but I'm not going to call these 8 performance pads. Not just because they're made from different materials than the bigger brothers like the SR and the SX, but effectively you only have 4 pads that you can use to control certain functions. That's because the bottom row right here already has set features. So this is for play, cue, sync, and the shift button. So you can't use those for anything else. Now the top row, those 4 can be used for the hot cues, the auto loop, the manual loop, and the sampler. And underneath that you have a secondary row of features, but all of these secondary features can only be used with the full version of Serato DJ. So for instance, with the hot cues, you have 4 hot cues that you can use. So okay, they're all kicks, but you can make a new hot cue, shift, delete it again. You know how that works, but you only have 4. If you get the full version of Serato DJ, then you can hit shift, press hot cue again, and then the top row accesses the second 4 hot cues. So in that case, you could use 8, but if you're using Serato DJ Intro, you have 4 hot cues. That's still pretty good though, because there's not a lot of times that I really have 8 cue points, and 4 can get you quite a far away. Now, the second one is auto loop. What you do with auto loop is when the track is playing and you press the pad, it will automatically start a loop. This starts a small loop. This one is a little bit bigger. That's even bigger, and that's the biggest loop. So small loop, bigger loop, bigger loop, and so on. Then you have the manual loop, and it already says it. You have your in point right here and your out point there, so you can make new loops on the fly. So if the track is playing, I can make a new loop right now, and that will keep on looping until I hit exit. Now we'll keep on playing, and if I press it again, it will re-loop that section, so it'll take me back right now. All right, and last you have the sampler, and that can play samples from the sample banks. And in Serato DJ Intro, your sample bank is can load 4 samples. So I have a couple loaded right here, but you only have 4. So that is a difference if you compare it to some of the bigger brothers. And with the full version of Serato DJ, you have the option to switch between banks. So in that case, you can load or trigger more samples. All right, so that's the functionality that you're going to get from the pad. So that's definitely pretty cool. It is the entry-level controller, so you cannot expect to get the same type of functionality as the more expensive brothers. Now, the Jog Wheels, this was a pleasant surprise for me because I was not expecting a lot from these jog wheels. And you can actually see me use this controller for one of my Saturday sessions. I believe it was Saturday session number 4. It's titled Saturday Sessions, the SB edition, so you can look that up. I'll leave a link for you in the description. And I do a little scratching and some beat cutting with the DDJ-SB. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised because I was not expecting a lot from an entry-level controller of this size with the small jog wheels. It feels pretty good. Now, I will have to add, it felt good to me because I'm already experienced at scratching, beat cutting, and backspinning, stuff like that. But if you have no experience with any of that, it might not be as easy as it was for me. But I will add that this is a good controller to learn your basic scratches. That's going to work just fine. Even some backspinning is going to work as well. The only downside is that you do not have any visual indicator on or around the jog wheel. So when the track is playing, you can't see anything moving. So your only way to have some visual aid is to look at the screen. And I always like to have that visual aid. I have stickers on my vinyl, or I use controllers or CDJs where you have a display where you can follow the sound, or some controllers have like a light on the outside. This has nothing, so you can't see anything. So you will have to look at your screen more often, and that is something that I don't like. Now, you have the vinyl mode. You can take it off vinyl mode if you don't want to scratch, but you also have slip mode. And again, slip mode is one of those functions that only works with the full version of Serato DJ. I'm going to sound repetitive in this review because a lot of functions will only work with the full version of Serato DJ. Now you have your key lock right here, and you can also change the tempo range for the pitch slider. And this is a very small pitch slider, and I would like to see this be a little bit bigger. I mean, they could have made it at least this big. This took me a little while to get adjusted to. I mean, it works just fine. It is a pitch slider, but I definitely prefer the larger pitch sliders like I'm used to from my turntables or the controllers that I use, but it works. Up here, you have your effects section. You have 3 effects, and you can apply all those 3 effects to this deck. And the same goes for the 3 effects that you can apply to that deck. But there is a difference. Once again, let me change the panel for a minute and show you the effects section in Serato DJ Intro. Now, if I hold Shift and I press 1, I can select the effects. You have a flanger, phaser, echo, reverb, high pass filter, low pass filter, and that's it. So you don't get the same amount of effects as you get in the full version of Serato DJ. And I'm not sure if these are isotope effects like with the full version, but they might be. But you don't get the same amount of effects. But still, you have 3 effects that you can apply to that deck simultaneously. So that's pretty cool. Now then we move on to the mixer section in the middle. You have pretty good EQ. You have your high, your mid, and your low, and it can totally kill the sound. And underneath you have your high pass, low pass filter. Now, here's my biggest problem with this mixer, and you see that in a lot of these entry-level controllers. There's no gain button or trim button. So what that means is that this is the only way to control the volume of your channel. Now, that means if both of these faders are all the way to the top and one song is louder than the other, you have no way to pump up the sound on the track that's not loud enough. That's what you normally use your trim or your gain for. So you can get around that by making sure that you don't take your faders higher than anywhere here, so you still have a little bit of headroom to adjust that. But I prefer my faders to be all the way to the top and use that trim, so you don't have that, and I don't like that. But I'm used to the more professional equipment. So again, if you're starting out, this is not your biggest issue because you still have your volume control right here with the faders, and you just have to get used to that. Now below you see that you have the option to use a channel fader start, and again that's only going to work with the full version of Serato DJ. And at the top you have your little section where you can browse through your songs and crates. You can load them into the decks, and here you have a button called back, and underneath it says panel, which would allow you to switch the views in Serato DJ, but that only works with the full version of Serato DJ. I'm repeating myself. All right, I'm almost done with showing you all the functions. Last, in the middle you have your master level, you have your headphone level right here, and you have your headphone mix where you can choose Q, master, or anywhere in between. So you do have options to cue your sound pretty good. And on the side of the device you have a mic input. You can control your mic level right here, and you have a dual headphone input, small and large. Now I'm not going to be able to test the microphone because it only has a jack input, and I don't have the right cable here, so I can't test the mic right now. So I'm sorry about that. Now there's one more button right here. This is called filter fade, and once you activate that, your crossfader will allow you to play with the filter. So if the track is playing, here it comes. So now it's normal, and now it will go into that high pass filter. I don't know if I would ever use that, but it is a feature that you have, and it's called filter fade. All right, so let's break it down. You have an entry-level controller. This is aimed at people that are just starting out buying their first controller, and this could be a very good option if you're getting your first controller. It's a nice size, not too large. You can fit it anywhere in the house. It's USB powered, so that's keeping it pretty simple. It is the entry-level model, and you can tell because certain parts of the unit are definitely not of the same quality as the more expensive brothers, but you're only paying like $250 for this one, and I've seen it here for 220 euros, and maybe you can find it even cheaper because I didn't really search that hard. These were just the first couple of results I found, but it's not one of the more expensive controllers out there, and you do get a nice amount of functionality if you keep it standard with the Serato DJ Intro. You get your 4 performance pads with the hot cues, the auto loop, the manual loop, and the sampler. You get the jog wheels that do work pretty well, even though they're not the best quality. They work especially for normal mixing, but also for some scratching. The fader works pretty well. I was also pleasantly surprised with that. I mean, you can check out more if you check out that Saturday Sessions SB edition, but for an entry-level unit, this is pretty cool to play with for me. And if it's your first controller, you get that functionality. You have your 3 effects per channel, you have full EQ, you have your headphone mix, so you have everything you need to practice mixing, play tracks, do a little scratching, maybe even a little bit of backspinning. And if you were to get the full version of Serato DJ, then you get even more functionality with the slip function and the roll and your hot loop or Q loops, because they will work then. You can use 8 hot cues instead of 4 hot cues. So it could be a good move, but even if you don't get that full version, you can still definitely do the job with this controller. I didn't really like the channel faders. They could be a little bit more smooth, but that's not going to be a problem if you're mixing. That's more if you want to use your faders for some scratching, your up faders, then they're going to be, well, they're not smooth enough. One problem that I did have, and that could just be my computer, anytime I plug this unit in, I get a beep. I have a humming type of beep sound coming from my monitor speakers right now. You probably can't hear it, and that only happens when I plug this unit in. So that could be a problem with this unit, the promo unit, or something with my computer. And I did find this unit to be a little bit wobbly, so I had to put just one little piece of rubber underneath here, and now it's steady as can be. So again, that could just be this particular unit that I have right here, and maybe it's not like that on every one of them. I think that's all I have to add to this right now. So I hope this helps you out, and you could definitely add this to one of your possible options if you're on a budget and you're looking to buy your first controller. I hope this helps you out. If you like this review, make sure to click that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I'll be back real soon with a lot of reviews and some new performance videos as well. So stay tuned, and until next time, I'm out. Peace.